So the last time I talked about this town, which is outside of Chicago, like to the west, was when Bands was killed because he was staying out there. EB Bands, rest in peace to him, man. But there was just an incident out there where a woman went for a test drive, like with a car salesman, and ended up killing the car salesman. So the car salesman's name was Crisoforo Osorio Gonzalez. He was found murdered in Chicago last month after going on a test drive with a prospective customer at his Rockford car dealership. So this week, prosecutors charged the woman with kidnapping and murdering him. And so this didn't get a whole lot of media attention. Her name was Rosie. She was 38. She was on pretrial release for two cases: felony aggravated battery of a peace officer and misdemeanor retail theft at the time of the murder. And this is another example of people being released to the streets in Chicago and then doing more stuff. So she's the seventh person accused of shooting, killing, or trying to shoot or kill somebody in Chicago while on pretrial release for a felony. So that's what I'm talking about. So the assistant state's attorney provided details about the allegations. According to CWB Chicago, she said that surveillance video showed Rosie and an accomplice arriving at the dealership at around 4:50 p.m. on February 9th in a stolen Kia bearing stolen license plates. So around the same time, a second accomplice arrived in a stolen Honda, which also had stolen license plates. And she said that Rosie, who was the first accomplice, climbed into a red Ford Escape to go on a test drive. So the accomplice sat in the front passenger seat, and Rosie was the car salesman was in the back. According to the allegations, Rosie pulled over a short distance from the dealership and called the accomplice in the Honda who pulled up next to them. Surveillance video showed somebody apparently trying to open the rear driver's side door of the SUV, and the Honda took off down the road. So, with the SUV. So, after the Ford crashed into a sign on an entrance ramp to U.S. Highway, the salesman was lying motionless on the side of the road as the Honda backed up to the SUV on the shoulder. The Honda's trunk popped open and then closed, and both cars left the scene. So the Illinois State Police troopers eventually found the Ford abandoned in a traffic lane near I-294. In I-88, investigators found 3 shell casings, zip ties, blood spatter, and a blonde strand of hair attached to a piece of scalp. So surveillance video showed Rosie and the first accomplice removing the body from the Honda's trunk over on 26th Street. This is in Chicago, about 8 hours after he was abducted. He'd been shot in the head and back. Marks on his wrist were consistent with being zip-tied. So the stolen Kia and Rosie allegedly took to Rockford was abandoned at the dealership. So according to the state, the police found a credit card belonging to the first accomplice inside the vehicle, along with a shell casing from the same firearm that ejected shell casings found with the body. So Rosie had her phone on, and the location was tracked to several of those events, and it pinged off of the towers in Rockford. At the same time, in the kidnapping, at the site where the Ford was abandoned in Elk Grove Village, and where the body was found. So that's crazy, man. And the previous felony convictions that Rosie had was a 1998 robbery, for which she received a 14-year sentence, retail thefts, and that was in 2010, 2014. So the assistant public defender that was representing Rosie during the detention hearing said that she lives with her husband and her 2 teenage children. She's been an accountant at a relative's income tax firm for 18 years. So she argued against detaining Rosie, pointing to the fact that the state had provided no evidence that she pulled the trigger. And the judge ruled in favor of the state, though, citing the state's rule of accountability, which can make an individual responsible for the criminal actions of others. So she may not have been the trigger puller, but she's still going down for it. And I told you guys this again and again. You know, the driver, anybody that was there, everybody's going down, man. So females, you know, that are thinking about doing this, I've seen a few situations where the females are kind of let off the hook, who participate or act as accomplices or whatever. And in this case, I don't know if she is the trigger puller or not. That has yet to come to light. But, you know, they'll be the driver. They'll do this, do that, help. And, you know, they end up catching a body. And it's like, you know, they were doing this to help some dude do it. And the whole thing was unnecessary for them to even be involved, man. So you guys let me know what you think in the comment section, man. Boy, Chicago News. I'm out.